Everyone, back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day, and it's all about our striker, our superstar striker, Alexander Isak. Yes, Isak in attack as the song goes, but unfortunately right now he's not in attack because he's knackered again. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Alexander Isak. I love Alexander Isak. I think he's one of the best centre forwards Newcastle's ever had. He's probably the best striker I've had since Shearer, in all fairness. In terms of his goal-to-game ratio, when he's fit, playing for Newcastle, I think other than Haaland in the Premier League, I think he's probably the best finisher in the Premier League. But the issue that we have with Alex at the minute is he seems to keep picking up niggly injuries. And I think there may be a deeper lying problem and a reason for this than just bad luck and bad fortune, or maybe bad medical teams behind the scenes. So we're going to have a little look at this in a second. But just before we do, in terms of Alex's stats with Newcastle, I mean, he's been utterly sensational since he's arrived. You know, I think 52 appearances, 24 goals, and 3 assists. You know, so he's practically a goal every 2 games there, isn't he? Really? I mean, when he was at Sociedad, 132 appearances and 44 goals. So he's well ahead, you know, in terms of his goal to game ratio in that regard. So Alexander Isak, when he's fit, is so dangerous, rapid, quick feet, ability to find space. You know, he haunts centre backs' dreams, as I always say. But the biggest problem I think that we have with Alex at the moment is his body doesn't seem to be able to stand up to what Eddie Howe wants out of the player. And that to me is a real concern. That is a big issue. And I'm going to get into the reasons why I think that in a minute. So if you look at Alex's injury history in terms of how many games that he's missed, so tracking him back, you know, to when he was at Borussia Dortmund, he was a young lad. You know, he only missed kind of a maximum of 8 games with a knee problem back in 2017. So he was out in November 2017. He was back in December. Then he missed another 3 because he bruised his shin. You know, 2, 1 game because he was ill, 5 games for shoulder injuries, 4 games because of his arm. So it wasn't anything really, really big. At Sociedad, he only missed 5 games in total out of those 130 odd appearances. Since he's been at Newcastle United, he has missed. So that's 18, that's 24 games I think he's missed out of those 50 plus appearances. So he's nearly missed half the amount of appearances that he's had for Newcastle. That is not good. That is not good. There's got to be a reason for that. And I think the reason is this pressing game that we play. I don't think Alex's body holds up to it. Now, it could be a multitude of reasons. You know, his build could be a reason. You know, he's very slight, but I think that helps him with his, you know, his mobility and his speed. He's very strong when he wants to be, but he's not a big, strong, burly centre forward like Callum Wilson. You know, he's a bit more slighter and more nimble and quick, a bit like a young Henry was. And I think that's causing a bit of a problem for Alex. So a lot of these injuries he's getting at Newcastle at the minute are muscular injuries. So, you know, it's groin injuries, thigh problems. They seem to be the issues. And that, I think, is the relentless speed and power that he's running with. You know, he's bouncing around, pushing the fullback one side, pushing the centre half, pushing the fullback, back the centre half, back the fullback, press, all of the time. And I think it's taken a toll on the player. Yes, he's had to play a lot of football recently, and that's not helped either because of the thinness of the squad. That's the club's fault. The owners could have addressed that. They didn't do it. We could have a third centre forward. They didn't do that. But every single time Isak is fit, on about the hour mark, he looks absolutely fucked. He's standing on one leg because he spent the whole hour relentlessly pressing. And then when he gets the ball, he's weaving in and out of players. He's using that speed, those quick feet, you know, finding gaps in between players, and, you know, probably scored a goal or 2 as well. It all takes energy out of a player. And there's nobody to come on and help Alex at that particular time. So he's fucked basically for the last half an hour of every single game at the moment until Wilson's fit enough to come off the bench. But Wilson's body can't take this pressing either, you know, because he's getting to a certain age. And Wilson's breaking down all the time with the relentless pressing. So the time has come for me, I think, to maybe adjust what we're expecting out of our centre forwards. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have to press. Of course, they have to press from the front, right? That is part of the game. But maybe they don't have to relentlessly press as intensely as they're doing in games and burning themselves out and causing muscular injuries. Now, you've got 2 rapid wingers either side, you know, whether it be Gordon and Almiron, Barnes and Gordon, even if Willock's up there, whatever it is, who can relentlessly press. The centre forward can have a little bit of a breather every now and again. If you go back to the way that Isak played at Sociedad, He wasn't relentlessly pressing players all of the time. He was dropping deep and taking the ball in many occasions and starting the play and then using that speed to find gaps in between the defence. We had Mikel Merino, former Newcastle player, being able to find him in those through balls. Out of the midfield, the minute it only seems to be Louis Miley recently who's been able to find Isak with that killer pass. Bruno hasn't really been hitting those passes for Isak. So that's a big issue as well in terms of him maybe going back and making things happen for himself or pulling wide and trying to make things happen for himself, which again is putting more strain on his body. And I just feel that maybe better management of the player's fitness and consideration of his game maybe has to be taken into account behind the scenes. And listen, I'm not Eddie Howe, Jesus Christ, I wish I was, but maybe asking Wilson and Isak to relentlessly press every single minute of the game is not going to work for them. I think they maybe need to just pull back a little bit, have a breather. If a midfielder can push up and give them that extra support, so they push onto the centre half, one centre half, and then the other midfielder pushes onto the other centre half, and you've got your wide players to close down the fullbacks. Maybe Isak and Wilson don't have to constantly move from centre half to centre half and out at the fullback and back in again and burn all that energy up and use all that energy up and put pressure on those muscles. And I really do feel that this is a problem now that Newcastle really have to try and figure out a solution for. If Alexander Isak is going to be our main centre forward going forward, which it looks like he is, and I hope that he is, but he's still a young player. To be fair, what is he? He's 24 years old. He's got the peak of his years ahead of him. But it's a bit like when Michael Owen was at Liverpool. If you forget the shithouse that we signed, Michael Owen with his pace, that blistering pace earlier on in his career, he ripped his hamstrings clean from his legs because he was constantly running at full tilt all the time. It takes a toll on a player. And I think this pressing and this intensity from Isak and Wilson, who's, not getting any younger. Wilson may not even be here next season, but Isak in particular is our main striker. This is causing him to have real problems, I think. Niggly injuries recurring time after time after time. I think there comes to a time in a game where Isak is going to have to just have a little bit of a breather as a centre forward, maybe drop deep, take the touch, pass it, move along, try and have that moment where he can find space. Going back to Sociedad clips, he was pulling back a bit. He was having that breather. Then he was zipping in between centre halves and getting into those positions, which he has done for Newcastle as well. But in this current team, under Eddie Howe's current A-game, number one tactic, everybody's at it. Press, press, press. And yes, it's served as well. But I also think it's leading to our star striker getting all these niggly injuries. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below about that. Just a thought from me. But the injuries, sure as shit, back him up. Isak never got injured before in the other teams that he played, but he's got loads of injuries now, and they keep coming back. So something's got to give. Something's got to give behind the scenes if we want this player to be fit for more than 20 games a season or 16 games a season. Yes, he might get 20 goals, but we want him fit for much longer than that because he's our main man and we need his goals and we need his influence in the team. But we'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. Let us know what you think. If you haven't already, click subscribe. We're over 6,500 subs. Loads of room for you and ever more. Smash that button, help the channel grow. Recommend us to family and friends. It's all free content. You get the previews, any transfer links, that's long gone now. You get the thought and the rants like you've just listened to there as well. So smash that button, come and join us. It's all free. If you want to give a little bit back to the channel, there is an option down there too. Smash whichever option suits you best. Have a cracking day, everybody, and we'll be back with some more Newcastle talk soon. See you later. Cheers.